Hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today I want to share what my thoughts are for the stock market next week, what I think is going to happen, as well as what news events might push us in what direction. And I also want to share what earnings I'm watching for next week and for what reason, as I think this will be one of the biggest things to push the market in one direction or the other come next week. Now, if you've been following the stock market, if you've been following the channel, you know that we are reaching near all-time highs, and every single day becomes more of a struggle for the market to continue to push upwards. And you can really see what's been happening, even though we formed a wedge here, which I did identify in last week's video. You can see that we were able to break out, but we were not able to continue running upwards. And this for me is a sign of weakness on the market. It's kind of making me concerned about the volume and about whether this market deserves for me to trade it right now with so much volatility and with so much downward pressure coming from a lot of people potentially believing that we are at some overextended prices here. So the fact that we traded sideways on Friday, which is usually a good day for some leaps, some frog plays that can potentially see the market bouncing upwards, well, it was unfortunate to see that we traded sideways. So come Monday, I'm going to be watching whether or not this market can rally or if we are going to see some more resistance and potentially pull back to around 342 or maybe even these lows around 341 that we made last week. So on the intraday time frame, it looks like the market could have some strength. We did have a really good bounce off this key level here, same as a couple weeks ago when we did start forming this wedge. However, this is not a clear sign of whether the market will continue upwards or find some resistance. And that's why I really think the earnings coming next week are going to be pretty crucial in moving the market upwards or downwards. And also we have a presidential election coming up, which is a huge topic in the United States. And one of the main reasons why I think the market is actually paused right now. Now, a lot of you guys know this is a very contested election and the market doesn't really know who might win. Now, personally, I like to keep it very apolitical on the channel, but we do have a president right now who has promoted a lot of economic growth and maybe even a lot of economic growth regardless of the consequences on the environment, consequences, etc. in other regards. As far as regulation, he's slashed a lot of regulation. He's lowered taxes for the 1% and middle class. And a lot of these things really promote business growth. So I think that the market has been able to rally under this type of leadership and under the fact that we've had a lot of money printing over the last few weeks. But now all of these newses have slowed down and we're really just waiting to see which candidate wins. And honestly, the market knows regardless of what candidate wins, we are getting a stimulus package after the election, or at least that's what's established right now. So I think that that's some upside that the market can look forward to. But in the very short term, as far as on November 3rd, the exact date, I'm hoping we can really see some push from the market in either direction and potentially a revitalization in either the upwards or downwards direction. I don't really care. I'm very price independent on the market and which way I trade on a daily basis, but I'm really hoping to see some more volume come back into the market because we've been extremely paused over the last few days. Now, what earnings am I watching coming into next week, and why do I think that they can potentially move the market in the upwards or downwards direction? So like I said, the market has been very paused, and a lot of these stocks that have been moving the market to the upside, like Apple, Tesla, not Boeing, but other companies like that, Microsoft, that have been able to recover above their pre-economic crisis levels and potentially are up 100% or 200% over this price, are really the companies that are continuing to push this market over the top, like Home Depot, Walmart, McDonald's, Caterpillar, just to name a few. And a lot of these companies are actually reporting either this week or next week their Q3 earnings. So it's going to be very critical to see what direction these earnings start to take and how the market is going to digest this new information, which is some of the first new information that we've actually gotten in the last few days and since these presidential debates or since the stimulus talks. So it's been a long time since the market has some really tradable news. And honestly, guys, there was a lot of some smaller news that I thought was going to move the market, like the fact that we actually got the first COVID cure but it really did not move the market as much as I expected. So I'm hoping that the fact that this bigger news that the market has been seeing in the rearview mirror, or sorry, in the headlights for a couple of weeks now, can finally come to fruition. And I'm talking about the election, and hopefully the market can finally become unpaused as a result of that news finally developing. So just the first company that I'm watching here for earnings is going to be Apple. And if you like some YOLO plays, now I know a lot of you guys ask me, what option am I watching? What option? Blah, blah, blah. I got you guys on a YOLO play. What YOLO play am I doing here? This is around $28 of value. I think it is, yeah, so $28 on this call. And this is an Apple $150 call. Now, historically, Apple has done extremely good into their earnings. Just on that dumb iPhone event, they really ran up all the way from around 113 to 126. So imagine how much they could run up with a potentially green earnings, with a positive earnings report, especially at such a really sold off level, and some levels that we're not really used to seeing with Apple, especially on this 1 hour chart. You can see that they've had a lot of downwards momentum and have even broken out of this channel that we were seeing a couple of weeks ago on their stock. So right now I'm just watching to see whether they can hold at this 113. And I honestly think there's no doubt that they're going to come back to the upside pre-earnings and potentially even after earnings. If the earnings are well, they can come back into this upwards channel and potentially test the 125 or even 135, because this is a monster company with some monster movements when they do have news coming, as you can see with the Apple iPhone event. So even if you didn't profit off the Apple iPhone event, this is going to be like a second opportunity for anybody who really likes to trade some nice volatility and has been hoping for some movement in the market, such as how I've been. So I put that YOLO on the Robinhood account, the small account. So we'll see how it goes, if it can profit or not. Now, I wouldn't recommend trading that, guys. Definitely do not trade that. It has a month of time on it, but I'm not very confident that it can come in the money at all. It's just a YOLO fun play. And the next play that I'm going to be watching here, guys, over the next few days is AMD. Now, I did talk about this stock on the channel, and even though they did exactly what I said, setting up a triple top here, head and shoulders, and then they went all the way down to around 78. And I really showed this play a lot because I was proud of catching this nice head and shoulders. But now you can see that they've recovered, and that's because they have earnings coming next week. So as always, guys, it's going to be critical to look on earningswhisper.com to see whether a lot of people are thinking, or what's the consensus thinking about whether or not a stock will have positive or negative earnings. And with AMD, obviously they are up 100% at least since the beginning of the year. But now they're really looking to see whether they can hold up this $80 price tag or potentially test their lows around $75 to $70 here. So just keep a close eye out. You know that Intel reported very badly, and this company is in the same sector. So you have to be very careful on what you do with this company. I will definitely not be playing this company on the earnings date because it's so unpredictable, so volatile. But I will be playing the earnings run up because it looks like they might find a lot of strength here, and they've just broken above the 50 EMA, which is a great indication of upwards direction. And on the 1 hour chart, it looks like they are really coming above here and potentially looking to test this 8260. Now, coming into next week, I think that if they can hold above the 8260, this will be a good trade for me, and I'll probably look for a swing coming into the earnings date. But unfortunately, if they don't move well, I will not be playing this company because I am uncertain on whether or not they will go up or down. Now, I also talked about this stock last week, Plug. And Plug is a company that is very much in this EV and renewable energy sector. And they ran up massively when these presidential debates were happening. And a lot of the candidates were really talking about EV, electric energy, etc. But now you can see that they are unfortunately selling off. And even though they did find some good support around their last all-time highs, it's really not clear whether or not they will come up again or stay at this $15 level, especially with the market so sold off. So I'm really watching for this play to potentially test the 50 EMA, break above, and then look for a swing to around 1754 or even up to the highs around 19. So just keep a close eye out on this play. This is a very good one. Now, a couple plays that actually went well that I was talking about last week, Starbucks. I think this is going to be an absolute banger. They are now testing their all-time highs or their previous all-time highs. And even though they had a couple dollars higher in the past. I think that these new highs are going to be the level to break for their company. You can see that they were really testing this $90 range for a long time, finally broke above on Friday, and I put this on the Discord. If you did make this trade, congratulations, a very good profitable trade, and one that you could honestly hold as a swing for a long time, as I think this will start a very green trend for Starbucks over the next few days. And that's why I'm really going to be watching their company for a swing above this high price that we saw around 91.10. So that's the levels that I'm watching on Starbucks right now. And those are really the three companies that I'm watching for next week and potentially looking for a trade to the upside on all three of them, as the market really looks like it wants to recover here. And if we do get maybe some news or just some extra volatility or something, like just some extra volume on these companies, then maybe we can really see some good plays coming into next week, which is what I hope will happen, because this market where it's just flat on a daily basis or potentially comes up and then trades down isn't really good for any intraday traders, and especially not good for people who don't know the market well. It scares them off. And a lot of these traders who potentially don't have a lot of experience don't like to trade during these market conditions, and it makes the market hard to find volume and continue in the upwards direction. So that's why I'm really very, very eager to see what happens with these earnings, whether they will continue to push the market upwards or downwards, and what will be happening with this presidential election, as I think that will finally unpause the market and help us to find some clear direction over the next few weeks and coming into next year, 2021, which is actually extremely close and surprisingly, shockingly, very close as well, as it's been a long time with this COVID lockdown. So as always, guys, if you want to see my signals, daily signals, free plays, everything, link in the description down below for my Discord. That is completely free to join. And I hope I see a lot of you guys there. We're growing the community every single day. Questions you can ask there, anything you can ask there. So that's a very, very good place to go for some answers and potentially to find a community of people who think like yourself. So that's one thing for the Discord. As always, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe the video. Thank you so much for the support over the last few days, and thank you so much for watching.